What's going on, everybody? It's AG here. Today, we're going to be taking a look at my still too early ACC power rankings post-spring. I'll do one more of these the closer we get to preseason. Let me know your rankings down in the comment section as we move along. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button as well. Now, getting into things, I think the ACC actually has a legitimate shot at getting multiple teams in the playoff this year. Not saying 3 or 4, but 2 are definitely possible. They were pretty close last year if Miami wouldn't have slipped up. So starting off here at the bottom, we've got number 17, Stanford. So each team will have their record and then why they might have some reason for optimism. Stanford probably going to be an iffy year. You know, they had the coaching situation happen post-January, so it's going to be iffy. 3-9 last year, not too great of an adjustment to the ACC. They've got Frank Reich coming in, former Indianapolis Colts coach, for like a year. So I don't really know how that's going to work. Now, they do return some pieces on defense, but it's probably going to be another bad year for Stanford, unfortunately. 16, Wake Forest. Now, last season 4-8, they do bring in a new coach, Jake Dickert from Washington State, which did a pretty good job there, I thought. So I think in a year or two, I think he'll get things kind of trending in the right direction. But right now, it's probably not going to happen from this roster. Now, the running back is pretty good, Damon Claiborne. So that is one reason they could win some games, knock somebody off. So again, there is potential because I think there's a good coaching improvement here, but give Dickert some time there. I think you'll get things turned around. 15, Cal. Last season, 6-7, they do lose their backfield. Fernando Mendoza headed to Indiana to be their next quarterback. They also lose their running back, Jade Knott, to Oklahoma. So those are two big losses to two big programs. Now, they were actually not bad last year despite being 6-7. Only one double-digit loss. Now, they bring in Devin Brown at quarterback, who, if the name sounds familiar, he has been at Ohio State as the backup the last few years, so that's why it rings a bell. Now, they could strike gold with that. You know, there's really no telling. Again, is he going to be as good as Fernando Mendoza? Probably not, but he has played snaps at Ohio State, so, I mean, that could be somewhat of an improvement. 14, Virginia. Last season, 5-7. Now, I do bring in a solid portal class, number 4 in the ACC. Bring in Chandler Morris from North Texas, put out a ton of numbers last year. I think 3,000, 4,000 yards, somewhere in that range. I might be wrong, but definitely good quarterback play, but it just hasn't been great under Tony Elliott, just as a team as a whole. So I don't know how good they're going to be this year. Now, again, I think they do have improvement in talent, so that's somewhat promising, but again, it's just probably not going to work. Number 13, Boston College. Last season, 7-6. Bill O'Brien, as a head coach, done a good job, whether it's here, whether it's Penn State, never had a losing season. And they had some solid wins last year. Now, the problem is they lose some guys. Tommy Castellanos, for one, at quarterback, is gone. So Bill O'Brien's going to kind of have to retool their offense a little bit. Now, he didn't play all of last year anyway, so it's not too big of a loss, but he was good. So I think they could be about the same record probably, but might be a little bit of a drop-off. Number 12, Duke. I think they'll definitely take a step back. Last season, 9-4, kind of an underrated 9-4. Pretty good year under Manny Diaz, but they do lose their quarterback, Malik Murphy. They lose their running back. So should be kind of a drop-off. Now, their losses last year were good losses, so that's of note. You know, they didn't just lose to the worst teams or anything. Now, they bring in Darian Mensah from Tulane, who's put up some really good numbers in the American Conference, but the American is a little different from the ACC. Now, the ACC is not the Big Ten or the SEC necessarily, so I think the transition will be somewhat okay, but again, it's just going to be a little tougher for him. I think Duke takes a little step back because Malik Murphy wasn't bad. Number 11, Syracuse. Last season, 10-3, really good year in year one under Fran Brown. And speaking of Fran Brown, he's a heck of a coach, up-and-comer, I think. He was like a number 1 recruiter in the country at Georgia before he came to Syracuse. Really good year last year with Kyle McCord at quarterback. Can they replace him and get that going again? We'll see. They bring in some solid transfer portal talent. Like, I like the pieces they have in place here. But again, I don't think they're going to have the level of play like the Kyle McCord offered them, that upside. But Fran Brown, I think, is good for at least an above 500 season, which is solid for Syracuse. So I think they'll be that, but not quite 10-3 level. Number 10, North Carolina, big question mark for me. You got Bill Belichick coming in. Last year, we're 6-7. Last year under Mac Brown. Bill Belichick, how's it going to look? How's he going to adjust to the college level? And again, I don't know how it's going to work. They've got a solid portal class coming in, number 3. So I think their defense is going to be good. They brought in some really good pieces in that class that are going to fit in and play and get after it defensively. Offensively is where the question marks are for me. Because, again, you lose Amarian Hampton, to name one guy at running back who did a lot for your offense, did almost everything. So how's it going to look? And I really don't know. That's why I've got them at 10 right now. They could go down. They could go up. Who knows? I really don't know what to expect, but I'm kind of curious to find out. Number 9, Florida State. Really big drop-off last year, 2-10 after what should have been a college football playoff appearance the year before. Now they've got talent coming in. Number 2 ACC portal class. Tommy Castellanos from Boston College is headed there. That's going to offer you a good dual-threat offensive quarterback. So that should be kind of some more upside on offense. Speaking of offense, they got new OC and Gus Malzahn coming over from UCF as the head coach, who has been at Auburn as well. So the offense is probably going to be somewhat improved, but they're too talented to go 2-10 again, I think. But I kind of thought that last year too when it happened, so we'll see what happens. Number 8, SMU. Now, this is admittedly a little low, probably, that people are going to say down in the comment section, which is fine. If you do think they should be higher, let me know why. I know they were 11-3 last year, made the college football playoff, but other than Kevin Jennings, they lose a ton from this roster. Running backs, receivers, secondary. They lose a lot of guys, whether it's to the draft, whether it's to the portal. A lot of talent is gone. And we saw in the playoff, Kevin Jennings was a little limited. Now, he did wreck shop on the ACC, so I'll give him props for that. But in the playoff, he kind of got exposed a little bit. I kind of thought they should have put their backup in, Preston Stone. But Rhett Lashlee at SMU has done a good job. They've won 11 games the last 2 years, so there is reason for upside. But again, I think this is probably his worst team in the last few years as far as complete roster talent. Kevin Jennings, I think, is good enough to get them some wins, but the rest of the roster is kind of lacking. Number 7, NC State. I thought they'd be a little better last year. It didn't happen. 6-7. They returned some key pieces, some leaders on offense and defense. In particular, at quarterback, CJ Bailey, really high upside for this guy. Really good dual threat dude that I think is going to be in store for a good year this year. Dave Doran as well, one of, if not the most underrated coaches in the country at NC State, has done a really solid job there, really good. So I think NC State will have a somewhat bounce back year, probably like 8-9 wins. Number 6, we've got Pittsburgh. Last season, 7-6. They started really hot, got ranked, and then they just completely, the bottom fell out the last end of the year. And so they just kind of started trending down. Patt Narduzzi, pretty solid. He's not the greatest coach, but for Pitt, they're going to have a good defense and they're going to be competitive in all their games, and that's what they're going to do. They also return some key pieces as well. Eli Holstein, a quarterback pictured here, should offer them some upside on offense. So I think Pitt and NC State kind of 1 and 2 as far as teams to watch that could upset some teams that are kind of in the upper echelon. Number 5, Virginia Tech, kind of a disappointing year last year too, 6-7, but they only had one double-digit loss in the regular season last year. So that's reason for optimism, because they do return Kyron Drones at quarterback, who is good enough to win you a game by himself. I think Virginia Tech is kind of a sleeper in this conference. If anybody, they're not going to be talked about a lot because of their record last year, but you backtrack to last year at this time, they were getting talked about as like a college football playoff sleeper. I think Virginia Tech's team to watch out for. Number 4, Georgia Tech. One of the 4 teams I think that can compete for the ACC championship. Maybe SMU as well. But Georgia Tech, last season, 7-6. They've got their backfield back. Jamal Haynes at running back. Look back over the last couple of years, 1,000-yard rusher, and they've got Haynes King, dual threat quarterback that can kind of do it all. He can win you ball games, formerly at Texas A&M. Georgia Tech is kind of a playoff sleeper for me this year. Looking at their schedule, they probably got like 2 losses on the schedule, maybe. Georgia Tech, I think, is a team to watch out for in the ACC. I've got them at 4. Number 3, so these top 3, I think, are the clear-cut favorites for me because I'm not as high on SMU this year. Number 3, Louisville, 9-4 last year. Their backfield is impressive. Okay, you've got Isaac Brown back at running back. You've got Miller Moss coming in to replace Tyler Shook from USC, so they shouldn't miss a beat there, I don't think. Jeff Brom, probably the most underrated coach. I said that about Dave Doran earlier, but Jeff Brom, what he did at Purdue, what he's doing now at Louisville, having them as a consistent top 25 team. Louisville's a team to watch. They were pretty close last year to making the playoff. If you kind of look at their resume, despite having losses, not a bad loss on their schedule, really. Number 2, Miami. Last season, 10-3. Mario Cristobal, I think, is a pretty solid coach. I know he does some dumb stuff, but he's going to have you competitive and winning ball games. They've got the number 3 portal class in the country. Really good class coming in to replace those guys they lost. Cam Ward to name one, Restrepo. But Carson Beck comes in to take the reins at quarterback. All he's done is win at Georgia. Is he going to be Cam Ward dual threat wise? No, but he's a better passer. I think Carson Beck wins ball games, and they're going to have Miami in the hunt for the playoff. Number 1, I've got Clemson. They just returned way too much talent from last year's playoff appearance. Tons of first-round talent. I think the last thing I saw last mock, they had like 6 or 7 guys going in the first round, which is crazy. 10-4. And with that being said, I think this is probably Dabo's most talented roster he has had since probably Trevor Lawrence. And speaking of Dabo, they have won the last 10 years. They only have one season they haven't reached double-digit wins, so they're going to be good again. You can count on it. And again, this is Cade Klubnik's 4th year. This is probably Dabo's most talented roster he's had in a long time. Clemson is probably a preseason top 5 team for me. Watch out for Clemson. So to recap, at 17, I've got Stanford, 16, Wake Forest, 15, Cal, 14, Virginia, 13, Boston College, 12, Duke, 11, Syracuse, 10, North Carolina, 9, Florida State. Now we get into kind of the contenders, 8, SMU, 7, NC State, 6, Pitt, 5, Virginia Tech, 4, Georgia Tech, 3, Louisville, 2, Miami, and 1, Clemson. Those are my still too early ACC power rankings. Let me know yours down in the comment section and why. Like I said, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button for me.